Risen Jesus, when your friends were afraid, gathered behind locked doors, you came and stood among them. You came to be beside them. You said, "Peace be with you." You offered signs of hope by showing them your hands and your side. Your presence and the Spirit brought them joy. Risen Jesus, come and stand beside us. If we are afraid, calm us. If we are tired, bring us rest. If we are fearful, inspire us to hope. Breathe your Spirit into us and show us new ways to live. May we continue to learn what hope means in these troubled times. May you be the source of our peace, our joy, and our everlasting life. Alleluia. Amen.
Hey, kid. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Hungry enough to eat a worm? But you wouldn't eat a worm? What about now?
What?
How about now? Don't you like chocolate syrup? What about now? You can barely even see the worm now. Would you eat the worm now?
That very day 2 of them were going to a village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and they were talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What is this conversation that you are holding with each other as you walk?" And they stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened there in these days?" And he said to them, "What things?" And they said to him, "Concerning Jesus of Nazareth, a man who was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned to death, and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since these things happened. Moreover, some women of our company amazed us. They were at the tomb early in the morning, and when they did not find his body, they came back saying that they had even seen a vision of angels, who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see. And he said to them, "O foolish ones, and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. So they drew near to the village to which they were going. He acted as if he were going farther, but they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, for it is toward evening and the day is now far spent." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at table with them, he took the bread and blessed and broke it and gave it to them. And their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. And he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Did not our hearts burn within us while he talked to us on the road, while he opened to us the scriptures?" And they rose that same hour and returned to Jerusalem. They found the 11 and those who were with them gathered together, saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and has appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road, and how he was known to them in the breaking of the bread. This is from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 24, verses 13 through 35.
Hi, welcome to session 1. In this session we're going to look at creating a prayer tree. The idea behind this is that we create the shape of a tree and you could do that with whatever media you like, really, pens, crayons, paints, or using collage work to create the shape of a tree, and within that tree we're going to try and work in the names of people, communities, things that we're wanting to pray for. So effectively putting your prayers into a picture. So you may be very artistically gifted, in which case all you might need is this idea to get started, and the rest will naturally flow. However, if you feel less confident about your abilities and you're looking for a little bit more guidance, then I'm going to try and help provide you with that. So to start with, you're just going to have a think about what questions would be useful when designing the shape of a tree. So, you know, is your tree going to be tall and thin? Is it going to be sort of broader and wider? Or is it going to be round? That might affect how you want to have your piece of paper, whether landscape, portrait, or even square. Is your tree going to be bare, so a sort of winter tree with bare branches? Is it going to be a spring tree and have lots of blossoms on it? An autumn tree, so lots of different colours, or one that's in full leaf? Also, if you're going to put words into your tree, where are you going to leave sections or gaps or areas to fill with those words? And that might help you think about where you're going to put your branches, that type of thing. To start with, I'm going to talk you through an example of one that I have done here. So you can see this very clearly on the pictures in the blog, so don't strain your eyes trying to look at this one. But in this example, I've started by drawing the trunk and the branches of the tree to begin with. So on the right side of the tree, I've kept the branches quite simple and left quite a lot of space. And then afterwards I've begun to draw the outline of the greenery, and then I've broken those areas up into rounded sections that I can later fill in. The next stage is then that I have filled those sections with different colours, different greens, that sort of contrast to the section next to it. And having done that, I've then begun to fill in parts of those sections with the names of people. And when choosing a colour to do the text with, I've tried to choose a colour that contrasts with the background behind. And then the bits that are left, I've filled with some decoration and detail. So that's an idea of how you might do a design in that way. On this side of the tree, I've made the branches a little bit more intricate, because I've decided not to put greenery into this tree. I've decided to add blossoms instead, and so I've added a lot more branches, so that there's lots of little spaces where words can be written. And my advice, if you were going to do something like this, is to draw the branches and then put the words in, and then you'll have lots of little gaps which you can fill with blossom afterwards, to fill out the space. So that's an idea, and if you were wanting to do something similar to this, then I have created two templates, one with bare branches and one with big areas of greenery. So you can download them and then either colour or trace the design if you'd like to. The next example that I've done is a prayer tree which is done as a collage design. Again, there's a proper picture of this on the blog, so you can see that more clearly than me holding it up here. I did that with my daughter. We began by getting 3 bits of paper which were kind of fairly thick in texture, and we started by dividing it into sections and painting stripes of different greens along the paper. And then we got the next paper and we did different reds and yellows. And then on the third one we did browns. And we left them to dry, and then we got a big piece of white background paper. And we took the brown, the paper that we painted brown, and we began to tear that up into lots of long thin strips to make the trunks of the tree. And then we began to stick them into the shape of the trunk and the branches. Once we'd done that, we then got the other 2 pieces of paper that we painted with the reds and the greens on. We started to tear them up into lots of different shapes and sizes to make the leaves. And then my daughter began to write on them the names of different people and things that we wanted to pray for. And when we finished that, we began to stick them onto the tree to fill in all the gaps in between the branches and finish the tree. So this is a great way of doing something with children, but it could be done with any age group at all. So yeah, I hope you find that another potentially inspiring way to create a prayer tree. I hope you enjoyed this post. I really hope you enjoyed the task. I really look forward to seeing what you create. Please do share it with us. Do get in touch and let us know whether this has been enjoyable, helpful, encouraging. Thank you so much.
Life is fragile. It's a fact we're learning in real time, every day. What we once called normal has seemingly disappeared. There's uncertainty in the air, restlessness in our hearts. Things we once took for granted are becoming difficult to find. Our usual day-to-day has evolved into this odd chaos. Peace is becoming obsolete. Many have lost jobs, security, and those they love. The pain is undeniable. But what if our fragility caused us to lean harder into God? What if, in our weakness, we chose to rely more on His strength? Would our outlook change? Would the peace that passes understanding begin to drown out the noise of this moment? Would we walk in a quiet confidence, knowing our God is mighty to save? We're not promised tomorrow, but we are given a simple truth to stand on. Our God goes before us. He will never leave us. He will never forsake us. Yes, life is fragile. But in our weakness, He is strong.
peacefully along your way. Go peacefully along the way of life. Be sure that you were meant to be, and go peacefully, just like the moon and the stars. You have a place in the universe. Be sure that you were meant to be, and go peacefully, go peacefully along your way. Go peacefully along your way, and try not to stray. Just go, go. Go peacefully. Make your peace in the earth, and make your peace in the universe. May the peace of God within your heart bring you peacefully. Go peacefully along your way. Go peacefully along your way, and try not to stray. Just go, go. Go peacefully, and try not to stray.